I have a question for you right out of the gate. I'm just going to jump straight in here. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. I'm Hal Sparks. I'll be Hal Sparksing the rest of the evening. Let me fade down the music and raise your hand in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let me bring you up on here. Ladies and gentlemen, raise your hand in the chat room if you installed 3 light fixtures today, just out of the goodness of your heart, for somebody, just doing a little electrical work, climbing up on a ladder, putting my hands above my head, messing around with wires that may or may not be live. We don't know. But I'm not scared. I know how a wall panel works. I can flip a breaker and watch to see if the lights go off. I don't trust anybody else to do it, but I'll do it myself. You're goddamn right. But yeah, some folks out there, you've done it before. Some of you are doing it for you're thinking about it and you're like, I don't know. That's the proper feeling to have if you don't know what you're doing, which brings me to Doge is a heist. A bunch of these folks over at the Doge bags, and we have a list of them. And I'm going to, if you'll allow me a couple of days of research and breakdown, I'm going to craft as best I can a presentation that introduces you to all the known Doge workers that are out there. Okay. I'm going to gather all the stuff I can find anywhere. And I'm going to, hold on, yeah, that's good. Okay. I'm going to gather all the names, anybody who's shown up at any of these events who allegedly are part of the Doge maniacs, the Doge bags, and we're going to go through all of them. We're gonna introduce them to the world. Now, I have so much to cover today, and as it would happen, I have a tendency. Let me put this in the background. Yeah, let's put this up here. There you go. I have a tendency when I'm doing stuff, like when I was doing electrical work earlier today, as I am wont to do. By the way, everything worked. Just saying, all the lights worked. No fires. No. Yeah, there was an issue with grounding at one point, but that was due to the fact that there were literally 4 ground wires in this crappy old wiring, and I managed to consolidate them, solve that issue. That said, still didn't affect. Still, everything worked. Just saying, right out of the gate. But I play music while I'm doing highly complicated things. I don't know if you guys do this. And it's almost, how like when I have problems on the show and I'll get a bit like this and I start going, oh, well, that's a problem. I'll get my British accent out when things go sideways, right? When things are a bit fucked up, I'm like, uh-oh, there we're having issues. This menu is not clicking where it's supposed to. I've got a freeze. The image is not where it should be. That kind of, I tend to do that when I run into those issues. When I'm doing very complicated electronic work, whether I am building a robot, which I have done 3 times now, or putting together a 3D printer, which I have built 3 of those, the Delta one I don't count because it didn't work. And I think it was just because it was shit to start with, and it was really just an experiment. I wasn't counting on it working, but it never, and the software for it was ass, so I could never figure out what was wrong with it. But it was just fun putting it together. And when I do that kind of stuff, the more dangerous the job, the sillier the music. Work with me on this. That if I'm just doing something that requires some brute force and whatever, and I'm just sawing shit and whatever, straight up metal, my kind of music, the stuff I listen to all the time. If I'm doing something where I'm like, this could lead, if things don't go quite my way, to my perhaps untimely death. I could get electrocuted or whatever. The music gets really yacht rocky and serious. Today it was Hall & Oates' greatest hits, or I think it was iTunes calls them essentials. And some stuff will be like, the mid zone is like lighter Prince fare. Things like Dinner with Dolores and songs like that. That don't, not Housequake, which is very invigorating, and you might have the urge to like go like that and pull a wire, and while it's happening, you might housequake yourself into an early grave. So but I'll play like little, light fare, easy listening, Prince's jazzier stuff, whatever. 120 volts only wakes you up. That's true. It will knock you across the room. Actually, my biggest worry when wiring, because I've had a couple of houses that I've worked on that were very old, and the wiring was messed up, and so the breaker that should have been this room, one outlet is not wired from. It's another cable coming from God knows where. People experience this all the time. That's why you have a voltage tester. Always use those. If you can't see the lights go out yourself when you flip the breaker. But I and my buddy Tommy Atabe, both of us have been knocked off of a ladder. Pow, just like by the shock of something like hitting it. And my big worry is sparks going in my eyes more than anything else in those moments. Less the shock. I feel like maybe stupidly so that I would survive it, even though perhaps I wouldn't. I do feel like that the biggest worry is like hot, molten light going into my eyeballs. That close would be fucked up. Anyways, so I have, as serious as stuff gets, the lighter it gets. And then when I'm all done, then I'm like, okay, what was I doing? It's like my life goes on pause because the seriousness of the circumstance and the light sort of fabric of the music that I'm listening to. It's like you're in a time bubble. And then I come back out of that, electro stupor and find that, we're still in this like Earth 9 horseshit alternate reality. And I will start to get kind of back into what I have to do for the show. And this is a little behind the scenes that's, it's necessary. You guys should know this. When I'm doing stand-up on the road, one of the things I do to get myself energized for doing stand-up when you're on the road, because, especially if you're doing the same set or you're working on a set, and you're trying to put it together and stuff, you're always fighting the kind of boredom of your own material and trying to invigorate yourself. And, especially if you have multiple shows a night and you got to, it's a job like anything else, but you got to, you want to make, this audience doesn't know that. They deserve every bit the show that the great show last night was. No matter who you are, who gives a shit what your day was like? They came on Saturday, not Friday. It's not their fault, right? Show up, do your thing. So what do you do to get yourself in the mood? Now, a lot of my fellow comedians will drink or snort something. I don't do any of those things. But I do the next best thing, which is I listen to AM radio preachers. Man, oh man, if you are driving around the South or, whoops, why did my monitor blinked? Stop it. If you're driving around the South, especially, or rural areas, and you're between gigs as a comedian, nothing will get you wound up and irritated like listening to some local TV preachers on AM radio. Every time, it always goes the same way. It starts out with, you know what? I'm too hard on these assholes. They're just trying to get people to act nicely towards each other. They're teaching the words of Jesus. And they just want people to, get along and have the peace on earth and goodwill towards men and da-da-da-da. And then if you keep listening for, 8 minutes, the sale comes. And you go, oh, right. I'm not listening to someone talking about their religious beliefs. These guys have a show, and the show is to sell something, and the selling of something is more important than the believing of the thing. And you motherfuckers, like it happens every time. And I get, from that point on, when I realize, oh, these guys are selling a tape program or a book or trying to get you to go to one of their fucking retreats for $500 or whatever, as soon as you realize that, then everything they say after it just gets me fucking, like, I just get irritated. Whew. I'm like, and by the time I get to the club, I'm like, let me at them. I just, even if I'm not talking about those guys or what I heard on there, I'm so like aggravated that it infuses everything I'm doing with a genuine level of that aggravation, which is the energy you need to punch through sometimes when you're doing talking for a living. So when I'm in, the other side of Vegas, there's not necessarily an AM preacher channel that I'm aware of in town. And if there was one, because it's nearby, it's not quite the same effect. So I didn't really, I don't listen to that. So there are other things that no matter what I do, if I listen to them, a couple minutes in, I'm just livid. And one of them is relatively new, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. Share the show out. One of them is this guy, Peanut Butter Dickhead. Patrick Bet David, who is hyphenate. Bet David is hyphenated, and I don't know why he just doesn't go with PB. But I didn't know what his name was for a long time, and PBD just sounded like Peanut Butter Dickhead to me, so it stuck. This is the Peanut Butter Dickhead podcast, and I don't know the guy he has on him, but on with him, there's like 4 or 5 rotating assholes they have on the show, and it's hilarious, and none of them know what the fuck they're talking about, and the big problem they all seem to have is they can't figure out why Trump won't release all the Epstein files. Racking their brains. What could possibly be maybe he knows somebody on the list. That's the best they've come. So you're starting to get the picture. Makes my anyways. So there is also a secondary trend going on in right-wing media right now, in that these assholes are somewhere between the dog that caught the car and nothing to complain about. They've got the House, they've got the Senate, they've got the presidency. Trump is saying and doing everything that they want, even the stuff that they didn't realize they wanted, and it sounds bad, but it must be good because he's saying it. And so they're all eating themselves, is what I'm saying. Like they've run out of, things to bitch about on the Democratic side. Even like Al Green standing up and going, you don't have a mandate or whatever. It was, or some Democrats leaving because Trump was being a piggish dickhead and whatever. It still isn't enough, right? It's none of them were like, they didn't all stand up and like clap and go, fuck you, and then walk out. It wasn't a big enough thing where you can make news of it. It's just like, okay, a couple of them didn't want to see it. The rest of them sat quietly. They held up signs that disagreed. They applauded for Ukraine. Blah, blah, blah. Like, there's nothing really that they could latch onto, right? But they got to do it. They have to latch onto something. There's got to be a villain out there somewhere. And if the Democrats aren't supplying them with the villainy that they need, they're going to find it someplace else. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, where we start today with the enigma that is Amy Coney Barrett. Now, everybody knows that she was hired for one job, which was to eliminate a woman's right to choose and turn women into second-class citizens, and she's done that job, and now she's coasting. She can rule on the rest of the shit any way she wants, I guess. But apparently the word on the street is, and this is, and I'd like to, is this, yeah, this isn't the only place this is showing up. This is Tim Drool. Look at the picture of her and this as he's walking by. Her looking at him is a story. It's a big story. There's a big thing going on. So let me show you. This is, and you're going to think this is petty. And you're absolutely right. And you're going to think this is like misguided and oddly paranoid. And you're right. But check this out. This is where the current state of affairs over there. Also, I got to tell you, these assholes are not taking phone calls. Why are they wearing headphones? Why? What? What the fuck? You're not in a DJing competition, and you're not in the booth of a high school football game. Drop the headphones, you Rogan wannabe dickheads. Stop it. I don't understand. I have earbuds because I don't want feedback from my microphone into the clips I'm playing. You don't have that problem. You're in an open studio. They can play clips and mute in between. You have an engineer right there. They can stop. There's software that stops the feedback happening in these situations on a bigger studio when you're that far away from the stuff. Like, it's lazy. It's lazy. Okay. That enough. All right, I know. Okay. Check this out. Think about, well, you'll see.
Kavanaugh, but look at her. Go to it one more time, Rob, please.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me roll this back.
And you know what he said, which was fantastic? He says, if you're teaching these things in school, federal funding stops.
Yep.
Federal funding stops. I don't know if you have that.
He's talking about LGBT stuff and transgender stuff or whatever. Nobody's teaching transgenderism in school. Being accepting of someone who exists is not the same as teaching that thing. But if you're a dough-headed asshole like these guys, then, of course, that's what you're going to do. Okay,
Clip or
I'll
not.
find that.
And then he says something so powerful that every parent relates to. You know what it was? Kids are perfect just the way that God created
Yes,
them.
he did. I remember.
What
That was a
a
great one.
beautiful thing to say.
Sorry. So I'd like to remind you, this is the crowd that says we need to start spanking children again. Corporal punishment. The world went to shit when we stopped beating kids. Let's understand that. Secondly, you have to civilize children. You have to teach them. They don't automatically share stuff. No, anybody who's had a preschooler knows that there's not this just like, oh my God, kids just want to give whatever they have to everybody. No, they've been raised right. They do. If they haven't, they will bite your kid. And again, their perfection in an innate sense, biologically, in a kind of Deepak Chopra, oh my God, the numbers of chemical interactions that are happening in your body is a miracle. Yeah, that's true. But it also doesn't mean you're automatically not going to grow up. Like, I don't know, just wind him up and see if he turns into a school shooter. Who gives a shit?
You know who relates to that? What percentage of parents you think relate to that? What percentage?
0. I think my son is perfect in his existence, but I still have to craft his behavior and make sure that he's not being led astray by peanut butter dickhead in that crowd.
Parents sit there and say,
vast majority.
100%. The number is a close to 100%,
Yeah.
95%. The 5% are the ones that bail on their kids,
Yeah.
who don't care about it. But vast majority are saying that's exactly right. That's not a Democratic or Republican or an independent position. That's an evergreen position.
Not the way he's saying it, though, because he had, again, this is their anti-trans stuff. Never mind. Let's get to what they're really worried about.
And
again, this is them seeking a villain, and they can't find one.
But there was one moment, which was kind of weird, Rob. Can you pull up the clip that Amy Coney Barrett, that David Harris Jr. posted? I want to know, Rob, what do you think about this? Tom, I want to get your thoughts as well. First, go back, Rob, and let's read what he put in the captions, if you don't mind. Do you have it on what he says? It's
who was the commentator?
Are supporting now? It's certain.
Also, can I just say real quick? Since Peanut Butter Dickhead has basically turned his thing into the sportscaster version of the Joe Rogan experience, that's what he's trying to do here. And they've got this weird, I don't know why they have a dance floor. Maybe in a future episode, we'll all find out. I don't know why they're all crunched up in the corner against the backdrop. I don't know why the fucking bank vault look where you sign the locker door. What is that? I mean, this is like the, I was about to say IKEA, but it's not even. It's like the Office Max version of the InfoWars desk. I don't know why there's a light blue stripe on it. Nobody does, except that matches the light blue in this, but nobody still knows that. I don't know why this is a bunch of marble. I don't know why there's memorabilia and hats and shit over here and bank stuff over here. I don't know. Are they in a decrepit old bank? in the basement because they're not allowed in the house. Anyways, it used to be him and one other guy, and now it's like like he's got to be on all day long to make the show watchable or something. So it's just a pile of fucking dudes in a rotation.
Not America. David Harris also said the fact that no wonder she always votes against him. Okay, look at the way Amy Coney Barrett looks at the president on Tuesday night. Go for it.
Ugh.
Whoa.
She hates
Go back to it again, Rob.
Wait, real quick. In her defense, if I may, there's a very strong chance he broke wind as he walked by her. That, she may be disgusted by him, but it might just be that dude stinks. He smells bad. And there's that moment where some people can hide it, or maybe, alcoholism has burned out Brett Kavanaugh's olfactory senses, but she definitely has, a functioning nose. Could just be that. But think about how, paranoid and weird you have to be to fixate on this.
The president on Tuesday night. Go for it.
Ugh.
Whoa.
Also, real quick, it looks to me like she's looking past him, that she's not actually looking at Trump. So don't get me wrong. I love their paranoia and I love them wasting everyone's time. But watch, it looks like she's looking at somebody just past him. See that? Like her eyes aren't focused on him. It looks like somebody who's here.
Ugh.
Like whoever that is, or over here. And even still, completely justified in thinking he's disgusting. Now,
whoa.
She hates
Go back to it again, Rob. Go back to it again. Look at this. If you read body language, look at that. He's complimentary, Kavanaugh, but look at her. Go to it one more time, Rob, please. And pause right there. Look at that
That's
smirk.
disgust.
That's disgust.
That's hate.
Hey, real quick. Oh, well, let him finish the thought.
She
Why do you
Didn't
think,
he
Tom?
who
Who
put her on the bench? Didn't he appoint her? Yeah.
He what?
put her
Who
on
put
the
her
bench.
on the bench?
He did.
I
he
know,
did.
but why? What happened?
What happened? Maybe I got a good one. How about this? So there's been some legal wranglings about whether or not certain evidence against Jeffrey Epstein, for example, in the SDNY in the federal court in the state of New York, can be given to Congress or to other people, even though there may be an appeal that goes through it. And the Supreme Court, it won't shock anyone to find out, can get an early look at stuff if they need to possibly make a ruling on it in the future. So they can look at what's in front of them, but they can also have access to almost any case that could be coming for the case. Anything that's been adjudicated or settled or closed temporarily, they can look at it if they want to. And they can fold it into their whatever ruling they may or may not make in the future. They may just read it to just keep themselves up on the state of affairs around certain issues. So it's very possible that Amy Coney Barrett has seen a bunch of the Epstein shit. I mean, just if you're looking for an explanation as to why she might look at Trump and be totally fucking disgusted. I mean, Occam's razor being what it is.
Do you guys know anything about what happened there?
Are there actual stories, or are we just speculating?
You're just speculating.
I have some thoughts.
Go for it.
So remember, what happened to this country during the Kavanaugh confirmation here is completely ridiculous,
Sure,
right? They're dragging them under the
Yes.
mud. But remember that there were all these leftist protesters that were being activated that were at Kavanaugh's home. This is what I believe. Because Amy Coney Barrett consistently votes against, the conservatives, Trump's agenda, et cetera. I think that she's being threatened privately. I think that a lot of very bad people know where she lives. And I think that she lives under the constant fear of that. That's what I...
Okay, you're an asshole. Let's just be abundantly clear. Fuck you, dude. That's just... that. If that's what's happening and she's under constant fear of the threat, she wouldn't even look at him then. She would know, oh my God, they will see my disgust and therefore... What are they threatening her with? If she's already voting against him, they should like her. If they want to kill her because she's voting against him, then they're maggots. So she wouldn't dare look at him in a way that would make assholes like you draw attention to it.